10,000 steps a day isn't just a number, it might be your secret weapon to fat loss, and you can learn more about it through my mistakes. The first thing I would like to cover is that it's really easy. You put your Apple Watch on and you jump on the scale and you can track your data. And I've been doing this since I think around about 2016 is when I first got my Apple Watch, and I've got data going as far back as then. And then if your scale, I like something like the Rempo scale, connects to Apple Health. I've got all the data and I put all the data into ChatGPT and it spat out this graph. So this is estimated yearly calories burned from walking. And as you can see, it kind of in 2016, it's down a little bit, 2017, it's high. And this is calories also based on how heavy I was. So it's an accurate calorie amount. The heavier you are and the more steps you do, the more you'll burn. 10,000 steps, depending on your weight, burns a different amount of calories. And as you can see, it drops down year upon year, kind of moving onwards from 2018. My next thought is that there's 3,500 calories in 1 pound of fat. So what is the difference in fat burn from that kind of highest to that lowest? And it actually converts to about 25 pounds of fat or 11.3 kilos. That number will come back and haunt me in a minute. And then we can see on this graph, my body weight to step count. So my step count in the green there was up over 13,000 steps, kind of 2017, 2018, and then it declines and declines and declines. And then you can see my weight shooting up. I'm really quite lean at 90 kilos because I think that number scares people. And as you can see, steps go down, weight goes up. That's crazy. Considering, you know, calories in, calories out is a thing, but there's a major component of calories out. And my weight is actually up by 11.7 kilos. So remember, I burn 11.3 kilos less fat per year doing less steps, and my weight is up by 11.5. So that's crazy. Major component of your total daily energy expenditure. So your total daily energy expenditure is made up of resting metabolic rate, your thermal effect of food, a thing called NEAT, which is your non-exercise activity thermogenesis, and your exercise. The thing about NEAT is it's unconscious. So if you do a dieting first approach, your RMR goes down. I've measured this with Caliber.
Use the Caliber to record your biking, your rowing, other cardio things like skiing, get a calorie count, find out what your carb and fat burn is. You can also track your weightlifting workouts, get your calorie count. Go heavy in the gym, track what your weightlifting is doing, battle ropes, and also your rest.
My RMR drops from about 2,000 calories to about 1,500 calories, so a 500 calorie drop, which is crazy. I have a very thrifty metabolism, so when it notices less calories are coming in, it drops. You've also got a thing called EA, or energy availability. Energy availability is the amount of energy you need to sustain. So you hear about female soccer players losing their periods, or sort of other athletes getting hormonal problems, guys getting erectile dysfunction. This is because you're eating less than your EA. Your EA is your lean mass in kilos multiplied by 30 will give you, you know, in the green of what that should be. For me, that should be about 2,200. So my resting metabolic rate when I'm properly fed is 2,000. My EA is 2,200. But because my resting metabolic rate drops so much, if I'm dieting, I have to drop calories, which might not be the right approach. I'm not saying calories that you eat don't matter, but calories out do matter. Total daily energy expenditure goes down when you eat less. And NEAT is this unconscious movement. So you just need to fire in some conscious movement. And then when we're talking about conscious movement or EAT, a lot of people think of that as high intensity, but high intensity and low intensity are different. High intensity also takes a lot more willpower to do, and getting your 10,000 steps is relatively easy compared to doing 45 minutes of insanity in the morning, which is insanity. So NEAT decreases. This is well known in the diet sector. Everyone knows that. They say keep your NEAT up and take your steps up. Although taking your steps up isn't technically NEAT, it is a proxy for it. And it is something that if you're not monitoring your steps or actively trying to get your steps is something that will go down. So say you do 10,000 steps and you start dieting, it might go down to 8, 7, 6, even lower. So your resting metabolic rate goes down, you got no control over that. And what you do if you eat over your EA and your NEAT goes down and your thermal effect of food goes down and your exercise tends to go down because you tend to have less energy for exercise unless you're really particularly good with your carbohydrate timing. So what I'm suggesting is that you base your habits on getting steps as a priority and getting your step count up. And you don't want to jump from, say if you're on 5,000 steps just now, you don't want to jump from 5 to 10, but maybe add 10% or 1,000 steps and build it up month upon month in a sustainable way. Look at your excuses, like in the winter, I'll do less steps because it's cold. I've already bought a treadmill, even though we are at the end of May, I bought a treadmill for the winter already. The lowering of your metabolic rate is called metabolic adaptation. Some people call it metabolic damage, but it's not really metabolic damage. It's an adaptation because when you have less energy coming into the system, your body freaks out. So what I'm suggesting is instead of dieting down here with this much calorie burn, I'm suggesting you do this much calorie burn and then diet to here. You're still going to create a deficit. You're just creating it up at this end. This next picture is a little picture that I made, and it's got a pyramid, and it's got high intensity at the top, it's got strength, it's got zone 2, it's got steps, and it's got sleep. So sleep is the most important thing, but a lot of people don't have good sleep because they are just not tired enough to get sleep. Doing steps or doing enough steps will make you tired. Doing high intensity will make you hungry and wired. It kind of raises your adrenaline, you get this hungry and wired. So I would suggest don't worry about your high intensity. Strength training, you can simplify your strength training. 1 or 2 full body strength training per week is always good. Eat carbohydrates around it, awesome. Zone 2, so I've made videos on zone 2 in the past. I've talked a lot about zone 2. For a lot of people, steps will be your zone 2. So I kind of split the graph into carbs and fat. So below zone 2 is carbs and zone 2 is kind of 50-50, and that's where your crossing point is. But you really want to get your mitochondria adapted to burning fat. So if you're doing 8,000 steps, if you increase that to 10,000 steps over time, your mitochondria will adapt to push more energy through the system. It's actually a meaningful amount of fat per day going through the systems. Not only that, you will make yourself tired, so you sleep better. If you sleep better, your hunger hormones are better. So this is knock-on effect from having steps. This doesn't mean eat like a 5-year-old at a birthday party, but you can do it. So one of the things I've got written down here is that if I up my step count, I can lose that 25 pounds of fat or half a pound a week, with my diet being exactly the same, which is 135 minutes of walking per day, which does sound like a lot, but that's in your daily life doing that. And considering my screen time is about 6 hours per day, I do have time, and you probably do too. A little picture, good sleep equals energy. Energy means you can exercise, and by energy I mean vitality. It means you can exercise. When you exercise, it means you get tired, which means you get good sleep, and the cycle repeats. And by exercise, I'm really meaning increasing your step count and that going out. That will make you tired. Tired is a good thing. You should be going to bed tired, so you get deep sleep, you crash out, you're conked out, you're asleep. When you wake up, bam, you're refreshed, ready to go for the day. Yeah, you've got to do some stuff around that to make sure you don't have your mobile phone around your bed, but getting steps will help you create this tiredness, which will help you sleep, which will regulate your hunger hormones, which is so important. So far, I'm on day 19 of doing this, and I'm about 2 kilos down from just increasing my walking. I've not been eating crazy good, but I've not been eating crazy terrible. That's pretty good. One of my ladies doing the course is 4 kilos down doing the steps. So I will be doing a bit of a guided program. So I do have a thing called the 4-week step up that I will link below. It's just a little step challenge where you add steps to your last month's average. So if your last month's average was 7,000, we're going to take that up to 8, and then we're going to increase that month over month, or every 4-week blocks should be enough. And then we kind of do a little feedback and see how you're getting on with that as a priority, and to see if this starts shifting the weight for you, or you get some of these other benefits like increased energy, better sleep, that are also really, really important. So anyway, steps are front of mind just now. Let me know what you think. Drop a comment below, hit like and subscribe. I'm Angus, and I'll check you in another video.